Good afternoon, everyone. It is everyone. I want a cinnamon roll. It's Bryan, Director of Skincare Research for Paula's Choice Skincare, and here we are at this week's live chat. It is Thursday, September 6th, and I am here for the next hour to answer your skincare questions, beauty-related questions, throw in some hair care questions if you want. Tap this knowledge. It's sort of like a sieve as I'm getting older, but you're always learning more, right? Nobody knows everything. So a few things to announce before we dive into questions, and I am going to get to questions a bit sooner because I have a hard stop at 3 o'clock my time, Eastern time here in Michigan, because I have a team meeting. So that'll be interesting. Well, we have our team meetings, but this is a different time than usual. So, number one, we have a promotion going on Paula's Choice right now where you get 3 free travel sizes with the purchase of any purchase of $65 or more. A lot of brands give out free products when you reach a certain amount in your cart. Not news. What's particularly special about this one, though, is that you're getting actual, usable, beautifully packaged travel sizes, not just that one-time use, throwaway, I can't even tell if I really liked it or if it did anything type stuff. So you're getting 2 different exfoliants, the Resist Daily Pore Refining Treatment, which is a liquid, water light, great for an oily combination skin, great for anyone concerned with large pores, breakouts, and signs of aging, that not so lovely trifecta a lot of people deal with. The other product is another exfoliant, which is the Resist Daily Smoothing Treatment, 5% AHA. That's really for all skin types. It's got a lightweight lotion texture, super smoothing, super soothing. Both of those exfoliants are in regular rotation for this guy. I love them. And if you haven't tried them yet, this is a great opportunity. Because I would say the bottles, which I actually do travel with, last for several days. I just recently replaced my daily smoothing treatment on my last trip. And the third item that you get is another favorite product of mine. You think I picked these out, but I didn't. Is the Resist Intensive Wrinkle Repair Retinol Serum. That's not as potent as our clinical 1% retinol or the not Resist anymore. Used to be Resist, the 1% retinol booster. However, you are getting a very efficacious amount of retinol, plus vitamin C, plus other antioxidants, and a super silky serum type texture. I love that stuff at night. Definitely a staple in my routine. So check it out. The other thing I wanted to announce, 2 more things, and I promise we'll get to questions. Most of you watching or listening know that we recently launched our Defense Collection, for all skin types, environmental protection and so on, anti-pollution. And that when it launched, the daytime moisturizer with sunscreen wasn't available. There was a bit of a delivery snafu there. The Essential Glow Moisturizer SPF 30 is now in stock. You can go to our website after this chat and place your order and give that daytime moisturizer a try. It is my husband's favorite. He will not share it with me. I have to sneak it when he is not looking. However, having said that, it's a little bit too much on the creamy side for my skin type. But having said that, it does feel amazing on skin. I think you only wouldn't like it if you have really oily skin or someone who doesn't like that type of I hate this word, but moist and slightly hydrated feel on skin surface. Otherwise, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous product. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was that starting this month, September, I'm only going to be doing the live chats on YouTube once per month. I keep biting my tongue. Once per month, and it's going to be the first Thursday of every month. So mark your calendars. Reason we're doing this is I'm going to be spreading myself out a bit more and having a bit more interaction with you, because I'm sure YouTube isn't the only place you visit Paula's Choice, at least I hope not. So you can find me over on our Paula's Choice Facebook page, and I'll be appearing in some other platforms as well. So there you go. Let's get to the questions. All right, starting at the top. Skullsiver says, hi Bryan, I have very stubborn hyperpigmentation. I am currently using the C15 booster, the C25 spot treatment, brightening essence, and the Radiant Renewal Mask. That's a great mix of products. This person goes on to write, I also use the Dark Spot Eraser. That is our 2% hydroquinone product for a few years with no results. I wish hydroquinone worked for everyone. Believe me, I do. It works for me, but only to a point. So I know it can be frustrating. I'm sure to wear SPF 50 every day. Great. And I still have hyperpigmentation. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. Also, you are lovely. Oh, well, thank you. So one of the things I like telling people who are dealing with hyperpigmentation, and that's a lot of us because hyperpigmentation is one of the unpleasant side effects of too much sun exposure. Even a few burns or tans in our youth can come back to haunt us in the form of mottled hyperpigmentation and dark spots years later. The other issue, and this is kind of from emerging research, is that long-term cumulative exposure to airborne pollutants can also play a role in triggering hyperpigmentation. So it's not, hyperpigmentation isn't just about sun exposure without sunscreen or tanning, it's also about just living in the modern world and the steps you can take to protect yourself to the extent possible from the ongoing damage. And that, in a nutshell right there, was the impetus for the Defense Collection. However, those of you who have been with Paula's Choice for a long time or even just a few years know that we sell several different products, including lots of serums in our treatment products, toners, and so on, that contain those types of environmental defense ingredients. So just as a quick aside, if you're wondering, well, why did you make Defense then? I think Paula said it best in a video that actually just went out via email today, and we really didn't have a routine, a system in the Paula's Choice line for that 20 to 30-year-old person who came to us and said, I need to start taking better care of my skin. I'm concerned about environmental damage. I'm not seeing signs of aging yet, but I don't want to. Yet I want to keep it simple. What do I do? And so that got us thinking about how do we put together a skincare routine that can address those first signs of aging, as well as deliver a benefit that really all skin types need, and that's environmental protection, not just from the sun, but from airborne pollutants. The second part of Defense was really that we didn't have a collection of products that wasn't for someone shopping either by aging, or meaning that they already have signs of aging and they want to keep them from getting worse, or they have advanced signs of aging, or we didn't have, or somebody who isn't shopping by skin type. Defense is for all skin types. It's really kind of our best collection for normal skin. And we found through research that a lot of our customers or people that were aware of us were staying away from the people that weren't aware of sorry, let me back up. The people that were aware of us but hadn't purchased anything weren't sure where they fit in because they just had normal skin. And the majority of our other collections are really segmented by skin type. So we weren't serving that customer that was coming to us not really about skin type, but just about wanting to get started on a simple, highly effective daily routine. And then that routine would change, be altered as time went on, as most of us do with our skincare. So having said all that, that was a very long tangent, because I just really want to make sure everyone is clear about the reason Defense came to be and how it fits into the Paula's Choice collection of products. In terms of, you're using really all of the best ingredients that we offer for hyperpigmentation except one, and that is azelaic acid. So I'm not trying to pile more products on your routine. I think you could probably do some trimming. But speaking from experience, I am just so impressed with our 10% azelaic acid booster. I knew from the research and from what we had written about it that it was a pretty amazing ingredient. But when you have that personal experience with the product, that not only supports what you know to be true from the research, but surpasses it on your own face, that's really cool. And that's what I've experienced with the 10% azelaic acid booster. So I really think that you should try that. It's a cream gel formula. So in your current routine, you could do, for the areas of hyperpigmentation, you can apply a thin layer of C15, and then you could apply the azelaic acid booster. And then on top of that, you could layer the C25 spot treatment, and then or the brightening essence, because the C25 spot has that silky but kind of thicker cream texture that then kind of thins out. And then you could finish with the Radiance Renewal Mask. That would be like this incredible skin tone improving blend of bioactive ingredients that I would suggest applying at night. During the day, though, start using the azelaic acid booster during the day under your sunscreen. In terms of other tips, because hyperpigmentation can be incredibly stubborn, I want you to keep working at it with skincare and sun protection and protective measures when you're outdoors, sunglasses, broad-brimmed hat, seeking shade when you can. Try not to be out in broad daylight and direct sunlight for as little as possible. It sounds like you are to the point where you need to see a cosmetic dermatologist, partnering the types of treatments that a dermatologist can offer with the state-of-the-art skincare ingredients that you're using at home. A dermatologist has several different options to use for hyperpigmentation. Various light-emitting and laser devices are at their disposal depending on what they offer and what they recommend for you. He or she may also recommend prescription topical products that contain a stronger amount of hydroquinone, potentially with, I think it's still made, there's a product called Triluma that is hydroquinone at 4%, tretinoin, I think at 0.25% or 0.5%, one of the two. Tretinoin is the drug name for Retin-A, that's the brand name, or Renova, another brand name. And then that Triluma product also has a topical steroid to help reduce the potential irritation from the retinol and the retinoid and the higher concentration of hydroquinone. So that might just push you over the edge in terms of seeing the success that you want, but you may also need a series of light-emitting treatments. And then, I'm going on with this answer because this is such a big question a lot of people have. When you get to the point where your discolorations are nearly invisible and maybe possibly actually gone completely, can't make any promises there. I've had some light-emitting treatments done on some discolorations and gotten really good results, as in like, they're gone after about 5 or 6 treatments. And then I've had some where I'm just like, they're still there. I can see them, but they're really, really faint. And, for stuff like this, I can just cover it up with a little bit of makeup and no one's any the wiser. And some of it is just, I'm going to be 45. And as you get older, you're going to get more marks of life. And there's only so much you can do to really, really get rid of them 100%, because it's just not a guarantee that all of them will go away. But I think when you follow that path, that is the best possible option in terms of outcome. And then I'm hoping you get to the point where your discolorations are gone, if not significantly lessened, and then you can maintain with great skincare and daily sun protection. So you can keep future marks from popping up and keep brand new marks from forming. All right, moving on. Elena says, hi, Bryan, can you explain how cleansing hydrophilic oil works? Can it still be drying and or pore clogging despite the fact that it dissolves with water, unlike regular oil? So hydrophilic means water loving. I'm not 100% sure what you're asking, Elena, and forgive me if I'm just not following this question. If you are referring to like a modern day cleansing oil, even if there isn't water in the formula, there is often a type of ingredient, and this is a big class of ingredients, there isn't just one or two, known as an emulsifier. And in a cleansing oil, when the oil is mixed with the water on wet hands and then moved around a wet face, the oil and the water, rather than repelling each other, the emulsifier allows them to mix. So that oil cleanser turns into kind of a milky emulsion when it's in contact with water. And that allows you to get the benefits of the solvent properties of oils, because most oils are really, really good at taking off makeup, breaking it down. That's why women who have oilier skin often complain that their makeup doesn't last. Your own oil is working against the makeup and causing it to fade and run and go away faster than it would. Much the same way a cleansing oil works so swiftly and almost effortlessly to take makeup off. So the question of can it still be drying or pore clogging despite the fact that it dissolves with water, unlike regular oils, it's most cleansing oils, modern day cleansing oils that I've come across, rinse fairly cleanly. You don't have an oil residue on your face. And you can really, if you're feeling like being a bit of a bathroom chemist, you can A/B test this. You can use a cleansing oil on one half of your face, like the Paula's Choice Perfect Cleansing Oil. There's others out there. Doesn't have to be Paula's Choice. Use that on one side of your face, rinse, see how your skin feels, and then wash the other side of your face with a straight up oil. It could be a blend of oils. It could just be cooking oil out of your cabinet, like a vegetable oil or olive oil. And what you'll find, I'm almost sure of this, what everyone will experience is that the washing with just a straight oil is not going to rinse, not very well. Your face is going to feel kind of filmy afterwards. Your hand will probably still feel like it has a little bit of oil on it. You may even notice that your eyelids and maybe the eye, if you get a little in your eye, it can get a little blurry. It's not fun. The cleansing oil experience eliminates all that hassle, and you don't have that oily residue left on the skin that could potentially clog pores. But you do get the conditioning benefits of the oils and the other emollients in that cleanser, which is why it doesn't dry out your skin. Right? Hopefully I answered your question there. Let me know later on in the comments if I didn't. Elena, that was your question. Let's move on to Ren. Hi, Brian. When the instructions on a product say pat until it's absorbed, is the product really being absorbed, or is it just the water that is being evaporated, thus making the patting unnecessary? First of all, I never do that. You can pat, massage, don't pull or rub if you want to. And of course, there's a certain amount of massaging you need to do to simply spread the product. I mean, unless we're talking about a spot treatment, but it's a combination of both. So some of it is the product really does absorb into skin's uppermost layers. Some of it is, depending on the formula, the amount of water and the volatility of the other ingredients will determine how fast the product sets, how fast it changes from a lotion to a powdery matte finish, for example. That can take a few seconds. It can take over a minute. It could take even longer depending on the formula and what the desired results are. What you do need to know is that not everything we put on our skin just keeps going and eventually gets into the body and the bloodstream and, oh my gosh, health problems ensue. That isn't what's happening. Depending on the product and its goal, many skincare products and ingredients are designed to stay either right on skin's surface, i.e. sunscreens, certain antioxidants. Some are designed to penetrate a little bit further, such as AHA, BHA ingredients. Some go even further still, depending on what the goal of the product is. But summing that up, we need ingredients in every layer of skin's epidermis, which is its top layer, and it's multiple layers thick. We need ingredients to diffuse through all those layers, different sizes, different benefits, to really have healthy, younger looking skin. So it isn't about just everything sailing past the surface and getting into the body. Whenever I see that, I just want to scream because it just isn't true. At the very least, it's misleading. Sort of like thinking you could rub a tuna fish sandwich on your stomach and have lunch. Haley says, I have combination skin type. I don't use fragrance, alcohol, and use a gentle cleanser. Is there anything else I can do to keep my cheeks from being so dry? Well, yeah. If you're, I mean, unless you left out the rest of your routine, it sounds like you're only cleansing your skin. And combination skin where the cheeks are drier, you absolutely should be using a moisturizer suitable for dry skin. The difference is, and sometimes when you have combination skin, you do need two separate moisturizers, and or you need to layer lighter weight hydrating products on the drier areas. So for example, if you're concerned that putting a cream, an emollient, maybe even somewhat greasy feeling cream that would be wonderful for the dry cheeks, if you're concerned about that migrating over to your T-zone where you're oily and potentially clogging pores, causing some breakouts, or just making your skin look extra shiny, then what I would do is take a lightweight hydrating product full of beneficial ingredients, antioxidants, skin replenishers, skin restoring ingredients. You would apply that lightweight product, and it could just be a toner all over, including the oily T-zone. And then you take your second lightweight product, and a good example in terms of texture would be our brightening essence or our Resist Ultralight Super Antioxidant Concentrate. Both of them could be great in this scenario. You would layer that over the drier areas so you're getting those extra hydrating ingredients where the skin is drier, and see how that goes. But you certainly need to be using combination skin. Can absolutely benefit from a leave-on AHA or BHA exfoliant. Which one to choose really comes down to whether or not you have clogged pores and or redness, in which case BHA would be preferred. You could also go back and forth between the two. Liz asks, what did PC replace the Resist Skin Firming Line Minimizer with? Nothing, as of yet. I don't know that we will. Also, if someone is allergic to aspirin so can't use BHA, what do you suggest to unclog pores and address blackheads, please? Well, if you can't use salicylic acid because of its relation to aspirin, and you know you're allergic to aspirin, by the way, it isn't necessarily true for everyone who's allergic to aspirin when taken orally that they can't use salicylic acid topically. Some people can. However, depending on the severity of your allergy and what your physician says, you might just want to steer clear of it. The next best option would be alpha hydroxy acids. You could also look into the polyhydroxy acids that the Exuviance brand made popular. Ingredients like it's lactobionic acid, and I think the other one is called galactorabian, are the two polyhydroxy acids. There are some salicylic acid derivatives, variations on salicylic acid. There's interesting research on them, a bit hit or miss, but ultimately I think what it would boil down to with those is that they're still salicylic acid. You could also consider azelaic acid in a higher concentration, like our 10% booster, because azelaic acid does have, oh, you know what? That wouldn't be the good product to consider because it does have a bit of salicylic acid in it. Never mind, check out the Ordinary's azelaic acid product, and I believe DermaDoctor offers one as well. Or you could take a, nope, that still has some salicylic. Tricky. Going through ingredients in my head and realizing that azelaic acid is often paired with salicylic acid, and there's a reason for that. But azelaic acid, just straight up, in a more basic product, such as what the Ordinary offers, it does have some mild keratolytic exfoliating effects. So that could be another option. Barring that, you're looking at either higher strength AHA peels from a dermatologist or an esthetician, or manual extraction to keep the blackheads under control. Scrubs can help a little bit. Some people might see some benefit, but really what's happening with a scrub, even if it says it's for blackheads, and a lot of them do, is that they kind of just lop off the top portion of the blackhead. So I liken that to when you have a bunch of dandelions growing in your lawn, and instead of pulling the whole plant out, you just kind of pull off the colored flower portion, and then what remains sort of blends in with the grass. It's not as obvious, but it's still there. That's kind of what scrubs do with blackheads. They might lop off, or pore strips for that matter. They will remove the top portion of it that's right at the pore opening, but then what's beneath, what's in the pore lining that's causing the clog is very quickly going to come right back up to the surface again because you're not addressing the root of the problem. Alex says, "Hola, Bryan. How important is for cleansers to have active ingredients if you're going to wash it off anyway?" It depends, Alex, on... So when you talk about active ingredients, when I think of active ingredients in a cleanser, I'm generally go towards benzoyl peroxide or antibacterials like the much maligned and pretty much going away ingredient triclosan. There's research showing that for those ingredients, you don't need to have them on the skin for a longer period of time. Maybe 30 seconds to a minute is enough to at least get a decent benefit from them. Particularly with triclosan, worked pretty quickly. Benzoyl peroxide takes a bit more time. I'm not a big fan of alpha and beta hydroxy acid ingredients in the cleansers unless they're just there for their hydrating ability or calming ability in the case of BHA. You're not, even if the cleanser is formulated in the lower pH range that AHA and BHA ingredients require in order to exfoliate, most people aren't going to leave that type of a cleanser on their skin for the amount of time it would take to really get a benefit, which I would say minimum 5 minutes. Are you really gonna stay hunched over your sink, or standing up with your eyes closed and you've got a foamy cleanser on your face and you're like, okay, just 3 more minutes and the AHA is gonna do its thing? No, of course not. No one's gonna do that. And I wouldn't recommend it even if you wanted to or figured, yeah, I'll take one for the team, because the surfactants, the cleansing agents in the product, whether they're sulfates or a different type, even the gentle ones, aren't meant to stay on skin for several minutes. They will keep breaking down skin's barrier and lead to a feeling of dryness and tightness. So that's my take on the active ingredients. There are other cleansers that you can formulate them with technologies that deposit the beneficial ingredients, for example, certain antioxidants, maybe even certain oils, where enough of it gets deposited on the skin and can withstand rinsing with water that you will get a more long-lasting benefit. The benefit continues after the cleanser is rinsed off the skin. That's kind of cool. Maya says, "Hi, Bryan. If fragrance is the last ingredient in a facial cleanser, then is that just as bad for skin since it gets washed away anyway? Thanks." Fast answer, I would say no, it's not as bad. I would rather see fragrance at the very end of the ingredient list versus like right up there in the middle. But sometimes depending on the potency of the fragrance, because when it just says fragrance, you don't really know what you're getting. It's that part in terms of cosmetic labeling can remain what's called a trade secret. So you list fragrance, you let the consumer know that the product has a scent, an added scent, not just the scent of the ingredients comprising the product in terms of what cleanses, what rinses, what softens, that type of stuff. Sometimes even when it's listed last, if you take the bottle off or open the tube and it really has a, you just strong scent. I've used products every now and then that had some fragrance in them, and I didn't think it would be that much, but then in use, I'm like, wow, is this ever fragrant? Now, some of that could be because I so rarely use fragrance products that whenever I do use one, my nose is like, red alert, red alert. That could be true too. But ultimately, in a rinse-off product, especially if it's a cleanser that you really love and works really well for you, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Do be careful using it around your eyes, though. General advice for any cleanser. Das Medium Medium says, "Sadly, I developed rosacea-like symptoms, also affecting my eyes due to using sunscreen, only ultra gentle ones. Should I just accept my skin is hypersensitive, or is there any hope?" So it does sound like your skin is sensitive. I don't know if I would go so far as to say hypersensitive, because I don't know enough about the sunscreen you use. Just because a sunscreen has mineral actives, titanium dioxide and zinc oxide, and no other active ingredients, it could still have some fragrance. It could contain fragrant plant extracts, fragrant oils. There could be another ingredient, not the sunscreen, that's causing the problem. So my initial advice to you would be to keep trying, keep experimenting with different mineral sunscreens, looking for those that are suitable for your skin type, lotions and fluids or gels, although finding a mineral gel is pretty much next to impossible, so you're kind of in the lotion fluid range. For oily skin, lotions to creams for normal to dry skin, and creams to balm-like textures for very dry skin. There are enough mineral sunscreens out there that I'm fairly confident you're going to find one that does the trick. So I would certainly encourage you to keep experimenting versus just accepting that your skin's hypersensitive and not use sunscreen at all. And also, as you're experimenting with these newer products, first of all, it's perfectly fine to take back something that doesn't work for you. It's not your fault if a product causes a reaction. It's something about the product. It could be a bad ingredient. It could be just how it interacts with your skin. But just as a general message to all of you listening, take it back. Take it back to Nordstrom, Sephora, Rite Aid, Paula's Choice. Wherever you bought it, most reputable companies will offer a money-back guarantee of some sort. It may not be a forever thing. You typically have 30 to 60 days, but that is more than enough time for the majority of us to think, I like this product, or nope, not for me. What else was I going to say in the realm of mineral sunscreens? Oh, keep a diary. Keep, print out, cut out, take a picture of the ingredient lists for every sunscreen that you try, so that as you go along, especially if you find that you continue to have some degree of reaction, you can compare the different ingredients, and you may just see a common denominator. Could be the mineral sunscreens themselves. I really doubt it, because they're so benign. They're so non-sensitizing. But I always say there's someone somewhere that's going to be reactive to something, even those ingredients that we know to be incredibly low risk for any sort of a reaction. But keeping that visual diary and being able to go back and compare and contrast ingredients will help you make more informed decisions when you're looking for what to try next. So it does take more time to do it that way, but I think you'll agree it's a much better approach, this detective work, than just going from product to product, guessing, hoping that it is going to work, and then being disappointed again. By narrowing it down and trying to come up with some culprits, that can help you avoid making the same mistake again. Okay. Dave A says, what do you think about tranexamic acid as a brightening ingredient? It's up and coming. It's, I believe that ingredient also works as an antioxidant, if I'm not mistaken. But there is some interesting research that I've seen on its pigment dispersion, how it works in skin to break up clusters of melanin. So I think it's worth looking at. I haven't, what I'm not aware of, not saying it doesn't exist, I'm just not aware of it, is if there's been any comparative studies done looking at that ingredient compared with vitamin C or compared with niacinamide, hydroquinone, that type of stuff. However, I'm a firm believer that the more brightening and dark spot lightening type ingredients consumers have, and this is, of course, assuming that they have been deemed safe for use, the better. Because not everyone's discoloration and skin tone issues are going to respond as well to the same, equally as well to the same ingredients. So the more we have to choose from, the more we can stack the deck in favor of more people seeing improvement. Okay, Maya says, can a lot of breakouts on a particular area of your face mean something? For example, during the summer, I get lots of breakouts on my chin specifically and nowhere else. Could that just be the heat? It could be. It could be the heat. It could be the fact that maybe you're touching your chin more during the summer because of the fact that, it's just a habit. You're sweating. You're kind of just, we touch our face more when it is sticky and gross out. But otherwise, getting clusters of breakouts on different parts of your face, that happens for some people. I used to break out on my chin exclusively, and then it kind of migrated to my forehead, and then it kind of went this way, and now I'll still get the occasional blemish over here. But nowadays, I rarely break out, really rarely break out on my chin. If I'm going to get a big breakout today, it's either going to be on my cheek or my nose. The non-obvious places. Paula says, Hi Bryan, I have skin which gets red and congested very easily. What products would you kindly recommend? I'll give you some guidelines. I don't have enough here to go on to say this is exactly what you should be using. Number one, choose products, as I was speaking of earlier, that are appropriate for your skin type. So go by texture. The oilier your skin is, the thinner the texture of the products you should be using. Stay away from creams. The drier your skin is, the thicker the texture of the products. Although you can certainly layer thinner textured products and then top them with a thicker textured product. That's fine. I'm not saying if you have dry skin, don't use thin textured products. Because a lot of products that are for all skin types have that thinner, more fluid texture. Number two, make sure that everything that you are using on your skin is fragrance-free, both natural or synthetic fragrances. And there are products out there that may advertise as being fragrance-free, and you look at the ingredient list and you don't see fragrance spelled out, but you do see fragrant plant extracts or fragrant plant oils. Lavender, rose, eucalyptus, all of the mints, all of the citruses. There's a lot of them. I'm just naming some common ones. Fragrance is a problem, really, for all skin types, more so for sensitive redness-prone skin. So that would be a big one. For sun protection, I tend to recommend the mineral actives we were just discussing because of their very, very low risk of causing a sensitized reaction, including around the eyes. The congestion, I'm assuming you're referring to bumps and clogged pores. A leave-on beta-hydroxy acid or BHA exfoliant with salicylic acid, that's the ingredient, at a 2% strength, I think would be brilliant for you. If you haven't started using that type of product, I prepare to be wonderfully surprised at how strongly your skin responds to it. And by strongly, I mean in a good way. Those are really the starting points to make sure. In terms of extras, if you wanted to use a soothing mask or like a redness reducing serum, Paula's Choice has both. So do several other lines, depending on who you shop. Those can be nice add-ons for that extra special TLC that you can also consider. Again, just making sure that the textures of those products are right for your skin type. There's no fragrance or other irritating ingredients. I would also recommend staying away from synthetic coloring agents. Some people have a problem with those. They don't show up in a lot of products, but every now and then I will see them. I'll say, ooh, that's not good. Kevin says, Hi Bryan, I start using the Omega Serum. How does that help my skin? I have seborrhea and sensitive skin, sensitive oily skin. Kevin, I'm having a very strong sense of deja vu. Like I've either answered this question before from somebody else or maybe you've asked it before. In any case, the Omega Serum's primary benefit for all skin types is going to be the barrier repair properties of the omega fatty acids plus the ceramides in there and the combined calming anti-inflammatory properties that those ingredients have. Inflammation is at the heart of pretty much every skin disorder and is also a factor behind signs of aging. Environmental exposure, air pollution, sun exposure causes a cascade of cumulative damage that begins what a lot of researchers refer to as an inflammatory cascade in skin. And it continues unchecked unless we do two things. We need to stop the offending behavior that's contributing to it to the extent we can. I mean, obviously, we can avoid getting tan and excess sun exposure without protection. Pretty difficult, if not impossible, to avoid air pollution entirely. So you do the best you can to defend your skin and give it the tools, i.e. the best cosmetic ingredients that it needs to do that for you. The seborrhea, you may see some benefit there, that scaliness, that buildup, but I really think that you're going to need to use a topical antifungal type product, prescription product perhaps, that your dermatologist can discuss with you. I've recommended the Dermazinc cream. I don't know if I've recommended that one to you, but I know some people have come back and said, I think Dermazinc is too creamy. I don't like the feel of it. One person said it had sodium lauryl sulfate, which it does, but it's a very tiny amount. Sodium lauryl sulfate is it's one of those multifunction ingredients. It first and foremost, the majority of products where you see it towards the top of the list, it's a cleansing agent. It's a surfactant. However, when it's lower down on the list, as it is with Dermazinc cream, it has different functions. Usually it works as an emulsifier, and sometimes it can also help stabilize a product. So when it's in lower amounts like that, I don't panic. I don't tell people not to use the product. It's not gonna hurt you. Is what I'm trying to say. But there are prescription products for seborrhea that your dermatologist can discuss with you. And I would, for that type of condition, if it's stubborn, I would recommend seeing a dermatologist versus talking to your family doctor, simply because dermatologists likely see more of this and have a better history built up in terms of treatment modalities and what works and what doesn't, historically speaking. Annapurna says, hi Bryan, is there any benefit to using straight honey as a mask for 10 to 15 minutes? Well, if some gets in your mouth, it's going to taste sweet. That's nice. No, honey is an ingredient for skin, whether it's Manuka honey, raw honey, and those are really the two types you want to look for. Don't go buy the super processed honey at the grocery store. You want raw and unfiltered type honey because it has more of those beneficial compounds for skin. You can take a look actually on the paulaschoice.com website. We have an article that I wrote about honey and acne. Honey is actually a pretty good anti-inflammatory, and it does have some ability to control bacteria on skin, and some people with breakouts might see some relief. Might. It's an easy enough ingredient to try and see how it works for you. I would never tell anyone with acne to drop everything else that we know works for acne, that's proven to work, and just use honey. That's bad skincare advice. But there's no harm in trying a honey mask other than the aesthetics of, it's honey. It's concentrated sugar and other substances that fructose, which is a type of sugar, that are sticky. So you might not find it's the easiest to wash off. It can get in your hair, on and on and on, but there's no harm in trying it. She also asked, what are my favorite drugstore products? So much of what I use, I don't use any drugstore products, skincare products on my face. I just don't see and not that there aren't good products at the drugstore, I just don't see the point given that I have such great results with Paula's Choice. And then with the SkinCeuticals product, that's my sunscreen. That's the one Paula's Choice product I don't use. Sorry, that's the one step in my routine where the product isn't Paula's Choice. Everything else is. And it's simply because out of all the sunscreens that we offer, and we offer a lot, I just prefer how the SkinCeuticals feels and looks on my skin. It's personal preference. It's not at all about our sunscreens are less effective. Heck no, not at all. So what I do use from the drugstore though, body lotions, although I do love our replenishing body cream. I tend to use that more for when I'm drier or in my drier areas, and then kind of for all over body moisturization. I like the fragrance-free Skin Relief body moisturizer from Aveeno. I think CeraVe has some wonderful body moisturizers. I think the Cetaphil Restore Derm moisturizer, and I think they make a body wash as well, are great. I think Eucerin has some great body products. We use the Dove Sensitive Skin body wash. which is a wonderfully moisturizing, kind of creamy-ish formula that rinses really cleanly. Big fans of that. Get that at the drugstore. And then drugstore hair care. I rotate different shampoos, usually have a shampoo from Aveda in the shower, but I also really love the L'Oreal Everpure line of shampoos. They make one, their Everpure thickening shampoo, that I just think is amazingly luxurious feeling, doesn't seem to build up, and if you are a fan of the shampoos from Kerastase, which is available at a salon and overpriced, I'm not saying they aren't good products, but they're overpriced, no question. L'Oreal owns Kerastase, and their Ever Pure, Ever Strong, Ever so on shampoos and conditioners at the drugstore, which are around $6 to $8 a piece. I would put any of those up against the comparable Kerastase product, and you'll save a lot of money. All right, we have about 15 minutes left. I need to take a deep breath / yawn, and not because I'm bored. It's been a week. Christopher says, hey Bryan, most derms say that retinol dermatitis eventually goes away after persisting with retinol for long enough. I still can't use PC 1% more than 3 times per week without big irritations. Any tips? So with respect, Christopher, I would disagree with what these derms are saying. I think for many people, that initial retinol dermatitis, it does go away. They've just got to get past it, and then their skin starts getting better and better and better, and they're like, oh my gosh, retinol is my BFF. However, there's a subset of people, Paula being one of them, that cannot use retinol any strength for any length of time without having an allergic reaction. There's an allergy / sensitivity some people have to retinol, and they will never get past that. It may or may not cause a textbook dermatitis, dry, flaky, irritated looking, uncomfortable skin, but there could be other symptoms. For example, when I use retinol at 1% too often, I don't see dryness or flakiness, but my skin can become sensitive to the touch. And I describe it as my skin feeling sunburned, but not looking sunburned. I'm a really white guy. I know what sunburn looks like. I don't see the redness, but I feel almost like that heat and that delicate sensitivity, that tenderness that your skin gets after a sunburn, minus the redness. So one of the things that I've done, now I am at the point with our 1% retinol booster that I can use that up to 3 times a week. I typically use it about twice a week because I've started alternating in other things. But, and then as I mentioned at the top of the show, I use our Resist Intensive Wrinkle Repair Retinol Serum a few nights a week as well. I alternate that. So if I'm not using the retinol booster or some other more potent treatment, I'll use the retinol serum, which gives me a lower amount of retinol and really nice hydration. Talk about waking up with a nice glow. I have one of the tips that got me over that hump was mixing the retinol booster with one of our other booster products. So if you have drier skin, the oil booster I think is fantastic. If you have normal to slightly dry combo skin, I think mixing the retinol booster with our omega serum is amazing. And then if you have oily skin or breakout prone skin, mixing the retinol booster with our hyaluronic acid booster can be fantastic. And you simply dispense the desired amount into the palm of your non-dominant hand. So I'm a lefty, so I'll do it this way. And then mix it together and then apply that concoction to your face. What that does is it further slows the penetration of retinol into the skin, and then the ingredients in all of the products that I mentioned have really strong calming properties, soothing anti-irritant properties, so they can help allay any signs of dermatitis that you may otherwise get from retinol. Now, it could also come down to this is just how your skin is, and for you, The secret sauce with 1% retinol is no more than twice a week, and that's okay. You can still get benefit from it, and then you can figure out what other bioactive ingredients you can work in and use on the nights that you don't use retinol, and get those benefits along with the retinol. Okay, let's see how many we can breeze through here as we count down. Lee Numick says, is it okay to mix vitamin C or retinol, retinoid ester, and lactic acid? Yes. Yes, it is. Vitamin A and vitamin C are naturally present in our skin, as is lactic acid. They're not fighting each other inside our skin. They're not fighting each other on the surface of skin either. Aphrodite says, hello, Bryan. What do you think about radiofrequency? I don't listen to the radio that much anymore. No, I'm kidding. I know what you're asking about. Radiofrequency treatments, I generally prefer the all-therapy type treatments. I think that they can do more. I think radiofrequency, now I haven't looked at it really closely in about a year, but my last recollection is that radiofrequency is just kind of, it's becoming a bit more obsolete. It can be good. It uses heat to elicit some tightening, just like all therapy does and just like thermage does, but they go about doing so in different ways. So I think in terms of those types of treatments, in descending order of most effective and most versatile to least, I would say the all therapy type treatments would be at the top. Thermage or Titan, Titan type treatments would be number 2. And then radiofrequency or RF treatments would be number 3. That does not mean that radiofrequency couldn't work for you, which is why I would steer you towards consulting a dermatologist that offers at least 2 of those 3. And for the one that they don't offer, they should be able to tell you why. Why do you not offer this treatment, but you offer these 2? What is it about these 2 treatments, or in some cases it might just be one, that they really love and are willing to not offer the other treatment? Those are perfectly legitimate questions to ask a dermatologist when you are considering one or more of these treatments to address something you don't like about your skin, which is pretty much always the case, isn't it? We don't go to a cosmetic dermatologist and say, I'm looking fantastic. What do you think? Let's see. All right, let's grab some questions from people that I have not spoken with today. Brit QU says, hi, Bryan, do you like mineral foundation? Not for me personally, but I know a lot of people love it, particularly the Bare Minerals type buff swirl, whatever the steps are. That loose powder foundation you apply with a kabuki type or densely packed brush. A lot of companies offered them several years ago, and then it pretty much was whittled back to the companies that did it best. Jane Iredale, Bare Minerals. I think that they're fine. I think for some people they can feel and some people they can look heavy. It's one type of foundation among several, and I don't necessarily think mineral foundation has any inherent benefits over other types of foundations, except if you're looking to use as few ingredients on your skin as possible, because the majority of mineral foundations really do have a very small ingredient list. Some of today's liquid foundations, the ingredient list goes down the whole side of the box and then the other side and then the flap, and you're like, what is going on here? Not that a product with a lot of ingredients is horrible, but if you're looking to avoid a lot of ingredients, maybe because you're concerned about reacting to them, then yeah, mineral foundation would be something to check out. DD Panda says, is the Defense Essential Glow Moisturizer SPF 30 entirely different from your other sunscreens? Yes. It is an entirely different new formula that we made from the ground up. I had a direct role in formulating this product. Paula had a direct role in formulating this product. Our in-house chemist, of course, was involved, as well as other key members of our product development team, one of whom is a stickler, she knows who she is, for product aesthetics and really making sure that we are pushing the boundaries of what's possible to bring you the best aesthetics in skincare. And I'm glad that she keeps us on task with that, because we need that. It's not that that's not on our minds, but it doesn't always stay at top of mind. Like with Paul and I, where we get more excited about the blends of ingredients and then what the research says they can do for skin, and then, okay, you're the chemist, figure out how this should feel. You know, we'll say, oh, it's got to be a lotion or it's got to be a cream or whatnot, but we're not necessarily saying use this thickener and this emulsifier and this replacement for that, and just to give you an idea. But she will step in and speak up, which is great. We have a good team. Oh, SN12, why oh why is the 4% BHA foam being discontinued? It's the best texture, so unique, and I can layer on so all the liquid 4% is too emollient, in my opinion. Generally, the quick reason that that's happening is that what we figured would happen did happen, in that when the 4% pore refining treatment, which is the serum formula you talked about, when that debuted, people stopped buying the foam. Most people, obviously you didn't, and I'm not knocking the foam. Most people stopped buying the foam and started buying the serum because they preferred that experience in the way that that product felt. So we kind of figured that cannibalization, as it's called, would happen, and it did, and so the foam is going away, and I'm sorry. We can certainly keep that type of technology in mind for future products that we look at creating with salicylic acid. Let's see. Did I answer a question from that person? I might have. Let's go to Joan. Hi, Brian. How is it different, the new Defense SPF to the Calm SPFs? So both of the Calm Redness Relief Moisturizers, SPF 30, like the Defense, also have the mineral actives. And no other sunscreen actives. The major difference beyond that is two things. The Defense formula really does give a glow as soon as you put it on. It's not like a shimmer, it's just a really healthy glow. And the Defense formula has a very different mix of antioxidants and other anti-aging ingredients that were specifically chosen for the research on their ability to protect skin from the visible effects of airborne pollutants, different types of airborne pollutants. So these antioxidants were a better neutralizing match for these types of pollutants, and then these antioxidants work better against neutralizing this type, and then we've got certain antioxidants in that formula that help protect skin from the visible effects of blue light exposure, from our smartphones and tablets. That same formulary principle wasn't followed with Calm sunscreens. With those products, what we were looking to do was ensure that somebody with extra sensitive redness-prone skin got the gentle mineral protection in a skin type appropriate texture with antioxidants that had been proven to soothe and calm and alleviate redness. And then we also added some supporting ingredients that some are and some aren't antioxidants, but those supporting ingredients deliver calming benefits as well. Okay, 2 minutes. Ugh. Oh no, we'll miss you on the live chats. Oh, well, I'm still doing them, just not quite as often, so we'll have to make the time we spend together even more meaningful. And I could certainly look at extending these chats a little bit. You know, maybe we do an hour and 15 minutes. Jerry Wong says, hi Brian, I have super stubborn blackheads on my nose that I can't remove with your 2% BHA or BHA9. I squeeze them every week. Gross. Nothing personal. Anybody squeezing blackheads, it's gross. I squeeze them every week, but my nose starts to peel afterwards. What should I do? I think you're being too aggressive. I don't want to see you hurting your skin at the expense of getting rid of all of these blackheads. If you haven't seen an esthetician who knows how to extract blackheads, and it's because a lot of them out there are good at it. I've talked to some of them that get like a twisted sense of glee because they're just so good at it. That's like their favorite thing to do. Find somebody like that who can really extract those blackheads from your pores. And then I think what you'll find is that ongoing use of a BHA exfoliant, it doesn't have to be the BHA9, will keep the blackheads from becoming, they won't stop the blackheads from ever coming back, but they will, for most people at least, keep the blackheads from becoming as deeply rooted in skin. Okay. Last question. Let's take. Oh, I did answer my question. Okay, Elena, thank you for letting me know. All right, Liz. Liz Moore, is there a reason my skin breaks out with hyaluronic acid? There are always one or two whiteheads the next morning, but I do have rosacea, so I'm severely dehydrated. Unless you're using pure hyaluronic acid on your skin, I don't know that I would be so quick to blame the hyaluronic acid. Um, I've never seen any research showing that it aggravates, causes breakouts, whiteheads, milia. And again, like the vitamin C, lactic acid, vitamin A question earlier, hyaluronic acid is what's known as a skin identical ingredient because it's naturally present in our skin. So if topical hyaluronic acid is causing bumps for you, how do we know that the hyaluronic acid that naturally resides in your skin isn't also doing that? But that's not a question that needs to be answered because I feel very strongly that the hyaluronic acid, whether it's in what's in your skin or what you're putting on it, isn't causing the problem. It's something else going on. It could be some of the other ingredients in the product. It could be the combination of those ingredients with some other products in your routine. Very few of us are just using one product on our face. What you could look at trying, and if you haven't tried it already, I think this is an interesting product for severely dehydrated skin, is our Radiance Renewal Mask. That does have some niacinamide in it, and I know some people with rosacea have an issue with that. Hopefully you're not one of them. But for very dehydrated skin that's also dry, because sometimes skin can be dehydrated, yet it's dehydrated on top but oily underneath. If you're dehydrated and dry, I love the combination of our Radiance Renewal Mask and the Moisture Renewal Oil Booster. And you could either mix them together before applying, or you'd apply the mask first because it has a cream gel texture, and then the oil on top. And do that at night before you go to bed. So, okay. I am sorry I did not get to everyone's questions. McFly, I use cream for blackheads. Oh, I'm just scanning now. But anyway, thank you so much for spending time with me today. Thank you for all of your questions. If I didn't get to your question, like I said in I've said in previous chats, I will come back and check comments afterwards, and I will do my best to answer all of those questions there. And I will see you next month, October. First Thursday. Forget I said Monday. It'll be the first Thursday of the month from here on out, and I'll see about doing a little longer chat. Okay, bye guys.